What's up, everybody? Quite a few of you in here, it looks like already. Good morning. Hi, everyone. You guys have already been chatting before I even got here. Good gosh. All right. Hey, everybody. What's up? Hi. So a lot to get to, and I know the Democratic debates are like right now. This is my second time accidentally doing this. I accidentally scheduled a live for like the Game of Thrones series finale. See, like I don't watch Game of Thrones, and this early on, when there's still 20 candidates, I ain't about to be watching nobody's debate. I will watch the highlight reel later on because ain't nobody got time for that when most of these people are going to be extremely irrelevant in less than 3 months. But yeah. That's how I feel about the debate. So thank you all for being here. And those who are watching later, I understand that's what the replay is for. What's up, Paulette? What's up, Alexis? What's up, everybody? Hey, Vern. Stanks bad, I should say. I'm afraid to even say your name because I feel like I'm going to get demonetized every time I say it. But hey, girl. And yes, that actually segues perfectly because it's been a really crazy couple of days, not just with the stuff that I'm about to talk about tonight, but also because we lost another YouTuber. This does happen a couple times a year. I don't even know what the actual like statistical rate is, but sometimes you hear about YouTubers passing away. This gentleman was named Daniel Desmond Amofa. And I talked about this separately in a video that I just uploaded like half an hour ago. I'm wearing these exact clothes. I just felt it would have been extremely inappropriate to lump in talking about him and what happened with him with all the stuff that I want to talk about right now. So feel free to check that video out if you like. I think it does raise larger issues that we should be discussing in terms of mental health, how we treat people in the public eye, mental health in the Black community, all sorts of things. So if you do happen to check that video out, please do leave information for suicide prevention outreach in your country in a comment, because I did include that information for the US, Canada, and the UK in the description box underneath the video. But I would love to have more info on other countries. I just didn't have the time to go through and figure out like how many countries I should include in that sort of thing. But yeah, if you have a moment to do that, it would be greatly appreciated. You won't have to sit through an ad to do it or anything because that video is not monetized. All right, so let's move on from that. Yeah, Paulette, thank you. National Suicide Prevention is there. I also have the numbers for them in Espanol, as well as their separate number for the deaf or hard of hearing. But yeah, let's talk about things that are much more light, I guess. Starting off with Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi, the owner, question mark, because there is debate over whether she really is the owner of Juvia's place, but we may as well go in order because she went on a Twitter rant like 5 days ago. So then I'll talk about Jaclyn after that, and then Marlena Stell of Makeup Geek is the most recent thing. So let's go semi-chronologically. But Chi-Chi, 5 days ago, just when everyone had pretty much forgot about canceling Juvia's place, she decided to go on a Twitter rant accusing Jackie Aina of sleeping with a married man for years. Like, the fuck? And just a bunch of other stuff about saying Jackie Aina is not pro-Black and this and that. Now, I do have to admit, she's not entirely wrong for putting Jackie on blast for never saying anything about the two-faced Rich Lives Matter situation. But I've already addressed how I feel about that. And I'll reiterate, it is possible for two people to be wrong. Like Jackie being wrong for never speaking about the two-faced Rich Lives Matter thing doesn't somehow make Juvia's place right for this. And that's on period. Thank you, Maria. More Colombian pesos. I remember from last time. You're a sweetheart. Thank you. But the thing with this rant, thank you, Keonce. Thank you so much. The thing with Chi-Chi's rant is influencers are not held to the same standard of professionalism as businesses, or in this case, a business owner, CEO, a politician, etc. Now, obviously, going back to the debates, those lines have blurred a bit since 2016, but for the most part, the latter group does have to remain composed in the face of public scrutiny. So it doesn't necessarily hurt an influencer like Alyssa Ashley or Jackie Aina to act crazy and go on a Twitter rant. It doesn't hurt them the way it can hurt Chi. More often than not, it will help the influencer, because what is YouTube if not one big reality show at this point? I mean, Veronica Bourgeois, who you guys know I love her, she was making that comparison recently, and it's just so spot on. Like, YouTube, the beauty community, like, no one really watches tutorials anymore. They want drama, and that's why drama channels get almost as many views as the people actually making the videos they're making their videos about. But for Chi, that rant really was not the move. And her timing is really the most confusing thing to me, because like nobody was talking about Juvias anymore by that point. Like, why did you do that? Hey, Irene, glad to see you in here. Yeah, I agree, Aziza. Chi needed to be professional. And yes, she's acting like Jeffree Star. And Jeffree Star is an anomaly anyway, because he's an influencer and a CEO / brand. But because his brand is being a racist mess, the same rules don't necessarily apply. It doesn't really affect him. So Chi, because for so long she was basically faceless, although she was evidently behind a lot of those rude customer service emails that got them partially canceled in the first place. Like, this was not a good look. Do I think it's going to ruin the brand forever? No, I don't think so. I don't think that most people are in the sunken place like we are when it comes to YouTube and YouTube drama. I think the average person shopping at Ulta knows fuck all about Chi. They know fuck all about Jackie Aina. They're just going to swatch an eyeshadow palette, be blown away by the pigmentation, take it to the cash register. Yeah, Queen Unicorn, I think she definitely overdid it with her praise of Jeffree Star for reviewing her product. Unfortunately, after Juvia's Place did that, I also learned that Pat McGrath has shouted out Jeffree Star for reviewing. Fenty invited them to their launch. Like, there are other Black-owned brands or Black partially owned brands that have shouted out Jeffree Star. That in and of itself is not a reason to cancel them. And there's another YouTuber who I really like who did a really great video on like all the brands we would have to cancel if we're canceling Juvia's Place just for shouting out Jeffree Star. So I will link that once this live is over so you can check it out, because she's amazing. She does tons of videos on crochet and crochet hairstyles, but she did a video on this too. And that was never my reason for being like, I'm done with Juvia's Place. That was the nail in the coffin. I was done with Juvia's Place before I started with Juvia's Place, because Tiff said this years ago. Like, Tiff was right the whole time. Back in the day, just their treatment of their customers, their undercurrent of seeming anti-Black, or at least anti-Black American, was pretty palpable, and it just didn't sit right with me. And just when I had given them another chance, all this shit happened. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you so much. I love doing these lives too. It's really fun for me. I love talking to you guys live. So yeah, that's kind of where I am. Yeah, I agree with you, Chastity Moment. It's not even like, oh, you can't say that to Jackie. Like, I'm not some Jackie Aina stan. It is the crazy lack of professionalism when it wasn't necessary. Like, no one was mad anymore. Everyone had kind of moved on. Thank you, Kimberly. Kimberly, here's the thing about Briogeo. I didn't know they were Black owned until somebody told me that in the comments under one of my recent videos. And interestingly enough, I have a video on the way where it's like my most expensive wash day. I filmed the actual wash day part. I just have to film the part where I'm talking to you guys about it. And I used some Briogeo products. And at that time, at the time of me using them, I had no idea they were Black owned. So I don't know if that is intentional or not, but just looking at their marketing, I'm wondering if it is. Like, if it's like to them a dirty little secret, if they somehow think that it hurts them to align with the Black customer. The only influencer I've ever seen work with Briogeo is Raw Beauty Christie, who is obviously lily white. So I don't have a problem with you working with different influencers of different colors, and or wanting to expand your brand to cater to multiple different ethnicities and races. Like, that's smart. That's how you increase your profits, of course. But I said this to someone in the comments who was saying that everyone who was mad at Juvia's place is stupid because of course they should go after white influencers, like that's where the money is. You can add without subtracting. Like, you can still add in other ethnicities or races, however you want to phrase it, to your core client base without forsaking and insulting or ignoring your core client base. And that's what rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, Irene, I agree. We never hear, at least not anymore. The things we hear about the beauty community these days are always drama. It's never recreating someone's makeup look from the Golden Globes or anything like you're suggesting. It's always nonsense. Thank you, Maria. You know, I didn't even notice that I had hit 70K because I stopped checking my subscriber count a long time ago, 6 months to a year, because it wasn't moving and it was bumming me out. I was just like, you know what? I can't worry about this. I have to just keep doing my content and just hope that the people who will show up for me will show up for me. And lately, now that I've been talking about things that are a little bit less frivolous, it seems like people are showing up more than ever. So thank you so much, everybody. I couldn't have done this without you guys. You know, we all start at zero. All of us content creators, we all start at zero. So every milestone matters to me. Every time someone hit that red button matters, especially because, you know, I've never bought subscribers or views. And I know that a lot of people do that to help juke the stats. It looks better if you're above 100K or you're above a certain threshold, but that's just not how I want to grow. I've never bought subscribers on my channel, let alone on any channels that I've launched and managed for companies. I don't think that's the way. And I'm a big believer in grassroots and organic growth. So thank you guys, because I mean, all you guys are in here right now, and you guys are why I'm able to grow at all. Every time you share or like or comment, that helps me, because YouTube itself certainly ain't trying to help me. They're demonetizing me left and right. After that Jeffree Star live I did, they've demonetized me on like 3 other videos, y'all. Now that I'm talking about real shit, like such as Jaclyn Hill, their golden girl, the goose that laid the golden egg. So Jaclyn Hill, the next topic on our little agenda tonight, she put up an Instagram story about 3 days ago saying that she is issuing full refunds, including tax and shipping, for all orders on her lipsticks. I only heard about this maybe yesterday because I obviously don't follow Jaclyn Hill, so I have no idea what she's doing on her Instagram stories. But the fact that she's issuing full refunds, no questions asked, no need to fill out anything or email anyone, at least this is what she's saying. Her honesty, always in question. But if this is true, I will take this. She is finally doing the right thing. Personally, I still think she should have done a full recall, but that would have implied culpability, which she still has not done, not in that Instagram story and not in her video that preceded it. And she clearly never will do, at least not outright. And correct me if I'm wrong, but she hasn't, not only has she not accepted any blame or responsibility in Instagram or on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure she's still lying even in the Instagram story, because I think she's still insinuating that some of these lipsticks are not contaminated, are not contaminated. But regardless, I'm still just glad that she's at least like backdooring her way into making things right. And I have to give it to her that even though it took her, in my opinion, way too long to do this, and she's still implying that these shit sticks are somehow safe to use, or that some of them are safe to use, that is continuing to put people at risk. I'm just hoping that the less stupid people in her audience will realize that the subtext here is indeed an admission that those lipsticks should be archived in your nearest dumpster. Because I watched another video. It was suggested to me probably because I watched whoever uploaded on YouTube her IG story about the refunds. Pretty Pastel Please, I think was the channel name. And she did her whole video in a hazmat suit, which was pretty funny. It was way too long. It was like an hour long of her just like rubbing lipsticks on paper and stuff. But she found like what might have been metal or glass in one. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. It was things in these lipsticks that should not be in any cosmetic, period. So the fact that Jaclyn Hill is still insinuating that these could be safe to use irks me. Okay, it's vexing. But I am glad she's at least giving people their money back. And I'm not really sure what finally changed her mind. Like perhaps she needed to get her insurance claim in order so she would be able to recoup at least some of what she's losing on doing this, or maybe the backlash from her first apology video was just way too harsh and she realized that she had to take the L. Yeah, genuinely Genevieve. But it's the best lab in the US and she's such a perfectionist. If she's a perfectionist, I would hate to see someone who's sloppy. Damn. My favorite part of her first apology video, by the way, was where she had, I don't know if you guys watched it, but she had that graphic of the fuzzy gloves and it showed like the lipstick before and then it showed someone like inspecting the lipstick with the fuzzy gloves and then it showed the lipstick after the inspection. And like, no one has really talked about this, and I was too busy just kind of going off the dome ranting in my video responding to that. But the best thing about that whole thing was, okay, so now you're creating a new narrative that also makes no sense because she's indicating with that slide that y'all saw hairs and fibers getting into the lipsticks during quality control, no less. And the irony of that alone is too rich. But you then let them pass inspection after the inspection itself contaminated the product. You documented this happening and made a slide of it, like a PowerPoint slide. Like this, does this make sense to anybody? It's just like, oh, here's a lipstick that looks fine. Let me inspect it and get fuzzy hair off of it. Okay, there's hair all over it. Now we can sell it. That made no sense. Oh, thank you, TR Bless 1020. It was so bizarre. It was rich. It was rich, Rashandra. You're right. Anyway, time will tell. Logic has left the chat. Time will tell if this massive financial hit that she's taking by doing this massive refund is too little too late. I mean, will she get another chance? I think that she still somehow, some way, she still has a fuck ton of stands. And even though she won't be selling out in a couple of hours the next time she tries to sell us something, I think she will still have people buying her crap. It's crazy. Oh, thank you, Marie. Yeah, Matitza, I don't know. I can't believe anyone is just that dim. I feel like she knows what she's doing, but she's just not good at lying because her lies don't even make sense. God. Which brings us to Marlena. Now, Marlena Stell, the owner and CEO of Makeup Geek, she put up a feature-length this thing is longer than a lot of movies. Thank you, Brandon. She put up a feature-length video yesterday where she put a whole lot of YouTubers on blast. She did her best to also redeem or vouch for some, like Patrick Starr. I remember she was saying nothing but good things about, and Kathleen Lights, although unlike Marlena, I don't know if Kathleen was quite so sweet when she was casually using the N-word, but that's another conversation for another day. Thank you, Kimberly. But yeah, I do need to get merch going because I for some reason, I'm just so afraid to sell you guys stuff. I get asked for merch more and more and more and more. And I've done the research into it, but I just haven't pulled the trigger because it's pretty easy to do just through like Teespring. Thank you, Curly. It's easy enough to do through Teespring or somewhere, but I just I'm afraid to sell you guys something. Like I said on a recent live, just sit through an ad for your girl. You know, that's all I ask. I don't need you guys spending money on me. Anyway, Marlena in her video, it basically was just her saying like, this is the last time I'm going to address this. And she was trying to explain herself and her involvement in several different dramas that have happened in the past 2 years or so. The most noteworthy thing I would say would be, and I think you guys would probably agree with me, was when she essentially confirmed what we already knew about James Charles being the one to charge $60,000 for one product review, as well as when she semi-confirmed the rumors that Jaclyn Hill made those lipsticks years ago, and that she actually used the same lab that Marlena had used when she tried to mass produce concealers that never launched, because guess what? The concealers were contaminated by the lab. So it was essentially saying, look, Jaclyn still isn't saying it, but I'm telling you right now, not only are those lipsticks contaminated, they're mad old. And the contamination that Marlena experienced with her concealers were pretty much identical to what Jaclyn has had with these lipsticks, like fibers, weird balls, all the same things. Yeah, exactly, Maria. They were all made in the same lab. They were all faulty. It's crazy. And that's the one thing that's still kind of getting on my nerves with, like, even with Jaclyn Hill doing these refunds, she's still sticking to her story. Just stop lying. I do think Marlena is an honest and generally very sweet woman, but I think she also knew that this was the clapback of all clapbacks, and she included some shady things in her video that I don't really think were necessary. Like, she was talking about some YouTuber who was or is trying to sue her for damages for using her image on the Makeup Geek, for Marlena using the YouTuber's image that she took herself on the Makeup Geek site for a product that they were selling. And I guess Makeup Geek and Marlena had the YouTuber's permission, but I guess later on the YouTuber got mad that Marlena didn't pay her enough or something, and lawyers got involved, or she got her lawyers involved, I should say, and then sent Marlena a cease and desist to have her picture removed, and then also was or is suing for damages in the amount of $60,000, funny enough. Marlena didn't name this particular YouTuber, but what she did do was make a point to say that she wasn't going to name her, and then gave the exact title of the video that the YouTuber put up, which if you search it, the YouTuber and the video in question comes right up. So it was a nice little trail of breadcrumbs. It reminds me of what a certain YouTuber did to Petty Page fairly recently. Thank you. I am in motion. Stop worrying about it and give us what we want. All right, I am in motion. I guess, like, I wouldn't be forcing anyone to buy stuff, but for some reason it just makes me feel, I don't know, it makes me feel like I want to shift around in my seat, I guess. Anyway, I'm glad Marlena is sticking up for herself, but I also think she spilled some unnecessary tea, especially with the less public offenses, with, simple stuff, with like people like Nicole Concilio. Like, every time I hear that name, Nicole Concilio, I'm like, who? Like, I just don't really feel like we needed to turn every stone. No one was checking for Nicole Concilio and whatever she did or did not say about Marlena. I think the offending tweet that Marlena showed, the one that was like rude or mean to Marlena from Nicole, was, in my opinion, clout chasing, because I think it was Nicole trying to basically pull a Gabriel Zamora. You want to talk about irrelevant people? Nicole Concilio, Gabriel Zamora, just clout chasing, trying to suck up to someone with a bigger following in a situation that doesn't even fucking involve you. Like, just say less. Say less. And I don't really feel like Marlena needed to address that, because that almost made it more important than it really is. Like, it was irrelevant from the jump. I think it was just that Marlena's feelings were hurt personally because she had tried to help Nicole. And a big part of that video was her talking about all the ways in which she's helped various YouTubers with this or that, which is another thing of like, you guys know how I feel about people who are like, oh, I'm a really good person. Like that always just makes me like, if you have to say it, it might not be true. Yeah, I agree, Mahogany. It cheapened her message. Like, because when it seemed like she had a laundry list of everyone who had ever done something wrong to her and she wanted to go through it. Whereas I think if she had focused that video more on the things that are the greatest offenses and more front of mind, she could have achieved her goal in a more effective way. That's just my opinion as a YouTube fan. Thank you, Just Us. Enlightened Nubian t-shirt. K-Ham, who's all over Twitter apologizing? Nicole or Marlena? Yeah, I agree with you, Kiki. And I think Marlena is right to be upset, but I also think there's a time that you just have to take the L. Like, even if it's the L is your feelings being hurt, sometimes you just can't. It makes you look worse to address certain things. Yeah, Alyssa, I agree with you. I think if Marlena had truly moved on, she wouldn't have touched on half of the situations that she touched on in that 90-minute plus video. Yeah, Paulette. I take L's on the daily too. I mean, damn. It doesn't get easier, but sometimes you just have to keep your mouth shut. Oh, Vern, Nicole apologized to Marlena. I think she probably had to, because if I'm not mistaken, Marlena's video, it went up yesterday. It's already well over 1 million views. Marlena didn't explicitly say, please don't go after these people, as far as I remembered. And if you don't explicitly say that, and even if you do, a lot of people will start bandwagoning. You guys know how it is, this hive mind, like any reason to start attacking and shaming someone, people love it. Like whether they were stands for Marlena or not, whether they had any involvement with Nicole before or not, whether they were subscribers or not, it's just a reason to go bash someone. And some people will take any opportunity. So I'm sure that Nicole probably had to apologize just to stem the bleeding. Yeah, Miriam, I agree. Because Marlena, I think those were real tears, unlike unlike Jaclyn Hill's, where I'm always just like, but if you're crying, why is your face dry? Marlena, I think she really is just, she's a sensitive, emotional person. She is sort of a bit of a mentor type on YouTube and has been a mentor to a lot of these second, third generation YouTubers, because Marlena's an OG. She's been on YouTube since 2008. All right. So she, in many ways, paved the way for a lot of these influencers who are now charging 60K a video to even have the opportunity to do so. And she has gotten dust. I mean, so few people appreciate people like her forging that road. Paulette, I don't know if people still purchase Makeup Geek, because I only purchased shadows from them a few years ago at the Fame Expo. I got some of those foiled shadows because this was like the same year they launched. Tons of YouTube buzz because Makeup Geek was still popping on YouTube at that time. And those shadows, those I actually put those in a YouTube made me buy it and it sucked video I did a few years ago, because those shadows were trash for me. I think I know why. She was actually talking about how there's a lot of oil in them, and I have oily skin, including my eyelids. So I think even with a primer, those shadows, it's a no-go for me. But that's the only thing I've ever purchased from Makeup Geek, and because I had a less than positive experience, I haven't revisited. They are at Target now, though, so I don't know. I'd be happy to support them. I like supporting small independent businesses, so I'd be down. Miriam, I mentioned your what was your comment? What I'm sorry, it's hard to remember who says what. Hey Kiki, thank you for the super chat. You know, I think that's probably not entirely off base. It's a bit of a Tati move to stir up drama to help sales. And I don't think that Marlena is stupid enough not to understand that possible benefit. So I don't know if that's her only intention, but I wouldn't expect that to not be among her considerations. Let me put it that way. Especially considering, like I just said, I'd consider buying from Makeup Geek because Marlena, you know, is someone who I would like to support. So in a sense, the marketing is working. It's 6:30, guys. I'm probably gonna jump soon just because you guys know, unless it's a weekend, I don't like to keep y'all bothered for more than half an hour with my lazy ass. But yeah. Thank you, vegan. Diva Views, I gotta admit, I have no interest in cut creasing the hooded eye. I would be very happy if cut creases just stopped completely. If I were to ever do one of those things we're saying goodbye to in fill in the blank year, cut creases might be number one for me. No way. Sarah, are you talking about Marlena? Her last video she's made, she needs to get something. I think so too. I mean, not exclusively. She's definitely done some videos that, you know, I just skipped over because it was about her clothing line or something. So, oh my goodness, did somebody send me $25 that I missed? Oh, okay, that was I Am in Motion. Sorry. Thank you again, by the way. Alyssa, I do believe you. I do believe Marlena as well. I don't know. I just don't think she necessarily needed to go line by line through everyone who ever did something wrong to her. I think many of those she should have addressed privately or not at all. That's just my take, though. Matitza, I agree with you. I mean, it's not just white YouTubers versus YouTubers of color. It's the world. The standards are never the same. It's that same old adage of you have to work twice as hard to get half as much. And quite frankly, I wish it was half as much because we're working twice as hard to get less than that. Thank you, Maria. Yuck. Yuck. On that note, I think I'm going to bid you guys adieu, but it's been fun as always. Hopefully you guys were DVRing the debates if you were curious about watching those. And if you're tuning in to watch this later, I understand because I am far less important than the future of our democracy. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you all for the generous super chats. Hopefully we're closing the book on some of these things. Like I really hope we don't have to talk about Juvia's place again, but we'll see. I think we're going to have to see how things play out in the aftermath of Marlena's video, as well as with Jaclyn Cosmetics, but we gonna see. So thanks everybody and have a good night. Bye-bye.